Hello, just a little update on what's going on with me and my process with WSIB. The last video, I informed you of my situation regarding my injury in my right leg, which I sustained at work. And WSIB I reached out to them after I was dismissed from my job and made the case that my leg is not. I have a torn ACL, so I can't perform the job adequately, and I sustained the injury at work at my last job. So there is definitely a strong case to be made for loss of earning benefits. Which I made that case to WSIB. They responded with, "Well, we have to talk to your doctor," so on and so forth. My doctor hadn't forwarded the information to WSIB yet. Not the documentation, not the consultation with the orthopedic surgeon. They hadn't done any of that yet. And I talked to my doctor yesterday. He assured me that he found the documentation. He found the MRI report of my ACL tear and the x-ray. So that appears to be in motion. They'll send it over to WSIB, and fingers crossed that will be received and start processing without too much pain. To those of you who are just tuning in, yes, I am going through a WSIB claim. I'm an injured worker, got injured on the job, and this could be it for me in my trades career. My knee's gone. So this could be it. So now I'm in the situation of transitioning. I'm not in a position to retire yet. I'm not financially secure enough to retire. So this means I do have to seek out an alternative form of income for my family. I have to support my family. I still have two children, ages 13 and 16. So right in the teenage years, and they're not getting cheaper. And life is getting more overwhelming in Canada right now with the situation right now, the economy. I have not worked since November of last year in the construction industry. There's been massive layoffs in my particular sector of work. So I'm also, injured, which makes the problem manifold, of course, trying to get back into the trade. Nobody's going to accommodate me. Nobody wants to hire somebody off the street with a bad leg. So, as I said before, I'm going through the WSIB process. I'm trying to hit them up for loss of earnings benefits. And so we're going to see how that plays out. I should tell you something a little about my history, too. For those who are also in the same position as me, processing, doing the dance, as they say, with WSIB, I just want to implore you to be persistent, but be patient, cross all the T's, dot all the I's, because this particular WSIB experience is not my first rodeo. I sustained an injury in 2012, early 2012. I tore my rotator cuff on the job. And my arm it couldn't move. Like, it literally was frozen. I tore the rotator, so I had no use of my left arm. The company accommodated me for almost 2 years in a modified work situation. And I have to tell you that first 6 months was literally me hiding in the corner, staring at the walls. I'm not lying. It was exactly like that. It was the dead of winter when the injury occurred. It was in a high-rise construction, and we were probably on the third or the fourth floor, but there was about 5 levels of underground parking. So the underground parking is where I was relegated to. I was just like kind of stand around and walk around and stare into the corner, literally for months, hiding with my arm in a sling and taking painkillers. That was the first, probably 3 or 4 weeks. It was a very strange experience. If you're used to working in construction, you're used to going pedal to the floor, working hard, all of a sudden you're just kind of like hiding. This is because the company can't, WSIB will not recognize, they will, it's far better for them. They want to deny you the claim. They want to deny you support. So they put it on the company, and the company will gladly pay you to stand around and do nothing rather than incur the ramifications of handing out of offloading at WSIB. WSIB will turn around and levy the company with way higher rates if they offload that person to WSIB. So the company, it's more worth their while to pay you the full rate to literally stand in the corner and hide. So that was my experience for the first while. Eventually the company ran out of work. They had to lay me off. And I was in a similar position to what I am now. I'm laid off. What do I do now? So I made the case to WSIB. I went through the whole process of retraining. They agreed to retrain me for a new career. They retrained me I went through the whole process of aptitude testing to decide which job I should be, what career they would insert me into, what career I would pursue training in. So after a while, they boiled it down to two new careers that I should strive towards based on my aptitude testing. They came up with construction estimating and paralegal. The handler, the case manager, and they say, if any of you should go through this process, just understand you'll be dealing with a case manager who will oversee every step of the way, this whole process of retraining and so on and so forth. So if I can recommend anything to anybody, I'll cross the T's, dot the I's, and whenever they tell you to be to an appointment, be at an appointment. Just get there, do everything, answer every call, follow it to the letter. Don't give them any reason to deny you or give you any problems. So getting back to my experience, it was, I went through the process of aptitude testing. They decided on the two careers. The case manager was very bullish, if you will, on construction estimating. Hey, this is your background. You have a background in this and this and this line of work. Be an estimator. I had my misgivings about it because I'm not a numbers guy. Naturally, I'm just not. And that was my initial feeling about it. And then we investigated the other career path, which was paralegal. The construction estimating course would have involved night school. The paralegal course would involve day school. I had two very young children at this time, and I was thinking, oh man, it's going to be tough to go to day school and when I have these two very young children. And due to that situation, I was kind of more, not want to say coerced, but more on my own. I kind of decided that was probably the better route to go, was studying night school, construction estimating. I thought, okay, if these guys have give me the vote of confidence, they think I'm making construction estimator, maybe I'll make a go for it. Went to night school, went through the program, graduated very good, had very good marks. Like I say, consistent, stayed with it. Still having this lingering doubt that, wait a minute, so this is a night course. A lot of people I was taking the night course were people who, a lot of self-employed construction company owners who wanted to learn the very basics, the rudimentaries of construction estimating. And I thought, I just kind of, at the time, I thought, I don't know if this isn't going to be adequate to take me, some company, to just say, hey, oh, you want to be a construction estimator with us? Well, yeah, here's my night course from college. It just didn't seem. My feeling at the time was this does not going to be adequate. My suspicion was this is not going to be adequate for future employers. This amount of training. So I finished up the course, and at this time, all through the training, of course, they're paying me to go to school. So I'm receiving at this point 80% of my, I believe it's the gross or the take home of my pay. So it's pretty good. I mean, it's not bad. You're actually in a situation where you can actually sort of halfway make ends meet because you're getting 80% as you're going through this process of training. So the long and short of it is I finished up the program, got the diploma certificate from the college, and then WSIB aggressively tried to insert me into a internship program with different companies. So from there, and they sub that particular process out to a private company, a private firm, which will try and get you hired. And so this private company, of course, their number one goal is to get you hired with a company and get you off the WSIB support so that you'll get on with this company. The rationale is that you will get on with a company, you'll become proficient in this new line of work in a certain amount of time, that the money, the compensation you receive exceeds or matches what you made before. And once you reach that level of earning in your new profession, once it matches, so when I become hypothetically speaking, if I'd become a construction estimator and made the same to what I was making before, WSIB says, okay, we're done with this guy. He's been retrained. He's off. We don't have to pay him anymore. So I went into an internship with a company. Sure enough, was there for a month. End of the month, they said, no, you're not going to cut it. You need more experience. Blah blah blah. And it's the old dilemma, of course. How do you get experience? How you can't get experience if nobody will give you experience in the first place. The long and the short of it is the construction estimating program was not sufficient. The training I took, most of the estimators who got hired were basically people with civil engineering degrees already. So it's people with extended, liberal arts graduates who were getting the nod over a guy with a night course construction estimating certificate. So it didn't work out. So I was not able to regain that pay. Well, after that, WSIB slashed my weekly benefits by half, literally half. So I didn't get hired. They said, listen, we trained you, bang, you're not hired. So therefore your benefits are slashed right to half. So I was in that position, of course, literally my benefits are slashed. I didn't get hired by this firm, and I just started driving Uber just to make ends meet. So I was getting paid close to $800 a week, and it was slashed right down to $400 a week. So I started driving Uber, of course, right away. Couldn't get any traction in this new career that I'd been trained for, so I was forced to drive Uber. So Uber was relatively new phenomenon at the time, and just reached the city of Toronto where I live, and it really took off. And it was actually not bad money for the first while, and that's what I did for a while to make ends meet. So I'd been deemed permanently injured as a result of the accident I sustained at work, the tear in the rotator cuff. So I went ahead and kept, trying to make ends meet, driving Uber and surviving on what WSIB was sending me every week. And at the end of that 4 or 5 years, they decided that I was permanently injured. I hadn't been able to get into a new line of work to replace the income that I made before. So at that point, they decided, okay, this is it. You're permanently injured. You will get this money until you're retired. So the weekly money that I was getting from WSIB was locked in. They decided at that point they had to support me for the rest of the time with this income. So I say all that to say, if you do find yourself in that position, I can't emphasize enough just to really cross all the T's, dot all the I's. When you do the training for the college, or they pay for the education, like I say, keep every receipt. Really watch your gas, how much you spend, because they give you, they'll even, at that time, they were covering gas money to and from the school. Make sure you itemize that and break it down and document it, all the driving you do. So maybe you have a Waze or some kind of app, and you can actually give screenshots and show exactly how much you drove to the college, because they're only going to cover the gas expenses for that specific driving, of course. So things like that, really maintain that and keep that organized. And when you're a case manager, you deal with your case manager, always be clear and concise, always have a right answer, and try not to act like the victim, try not to get snarky, trying to get confrontational, because what they're dealing with, mostly injured people who can get really injured people when they're off work, can be at home and they can sit there and brood for the longest time, and they get angry and they can lash out. So they're expecting you to do that. They'll have their guards up. So be pleasant, try and contain yourself the best you can. So that's where I'm at now. So that was my first experience at WSIB. I'm injured yet again now. So I sustained this injury. I had that injury in 2012, and I drove Uber for the longest time. I re-entered the trade. I should explain that I re-entered the trade 6 years after that injury. I had enough mobility in that left arm, which was frozen for the longest time, the shoulder. I was able to regain a lot of the motion over the 5 or 6 years, enough to the point where I could take another crack at the trade. So I went back into the trade and worked there for another 5 years. Now my knees are gone. So this is, another case, another go around with WSIB for me. So this is my experience. That's my past experience. So if you have any similar experience to that, or you have a bad experience, or maybe you have a good experience, and really mine is relatively good, save for the training, which was, like I say, it wasn't adequate retraining, but it was relatively good considering, I think, how bad it could have gone, and I'm thankful for that. All right, guys, I'll leave you with that, and I say, please feel free to share your experience, and I'm really trying to reach out to anybody else who's going down the same road right now, and we'll try and face this together as a network and a group, and try and reinforce and support one another. It's not easy in today's economy, especially today's economy of all times. In Canada, where I live right now, it's very bleak in terms of economic prospects, in terms of price of living, the soaring prices, and these are things that we all need to get together, support each other during this time. All right.